Hello, buddy. Show me this road.
In this session, let's understand ALV reports. To demonstrate that, I'll copy this program. And then I'll make some edits. So I'll remove this list related events. With ALV, all you have to do is call one function module and pass your data to that function module, and it will take care of generating the report output for you. It's very simple and straightforward, and this ALV is a bit more evolutionary in the sense, first SAP introduced the ALV via a function module, then they've introduced it via control framework where you can call this controller class and use that to generate your ALV within the control framework. And then now we have a much better version, which is ALV object model, which is a pure object oriented implementation of this ALV. ALV stands for ABAP list viewer. So we'll see all these three types of ALV that you can create. So first we'll discuss this function module ALV, then I'll show you how to do it with the control framework, and then finally we'll discuss the ALV object model. There are so many things you can do with ALV, and it is impossible for me to cover every minute detail about the ALV. So I'll show you the basic options that you can use to generate your report output, and whenever you get a requirement for any specific things to be handled, then at that time you can explore how to achieve that. All you'll have to do is identify what information you should pass to which parameter to achieve that additional functionality. So if you just understand the basic implementation of this ALV, then you should be able to expand to accommodate more user requirements into that. So with ALV, you cannot pass multiple tables. So you just have to pass one table which has your output data. So all the data that you have in your program, you should consolidate it into one internal table and then pass that table to the ALV. So in this report output, we are showing this material number, material description, plant number and plant description in the output. So I have to consolidate all this data that is there in these three different tables into one final internal table and then pass that internal table to my ALV. To do that, I'll first create one structure. Let's say I want this MATNAR field, MAKTX field, works field and name one field. MATNAR field I'll refer to MATNAR, MAKTX to MAKTX, works to works underscore D, and name one to name one. So this will be my final output structure. So these are the fields I'll be printing in the output. Once you have the structure, in my program, I'll define one internal table, which I'll say, let's say data IT final type standard table of this structure and WA final type this structure. Then instead of writing this logic in the output, once I select the data, instead of using this write statements, I'll fill my final table. Let's say IT final MATNAR equals to WA-MARC MATNAR, WA final MAKTX equals to WA-MAKT MAKTX, WA final works equals to WA marc works, and then wa final name1 equals to wa t001w name1. So I'm moving all this data from 3 different tables into one final internal table. So I'll append this, append wa final to it final. So in each loop I'll be adding one row to this. So whatever we are printing in the output, the same data will be added to this it final internal table. Once you have the data in your it final internal table, all you have to do is in the show output, I'll call this function module reuse ALV. We have 2 types of displays, list display and grid display. List display will show the report output as if you have used write statements. We'll see that first. And to this function module, there are a lot of parameters that you can pass. I'll be talking about few of them, and you can explore about the other parameters as and when you have a requirement. So even if you go to this function module, for example, if you see the function module documentation, they explain about each parameter, what is the purpose of that parameter and what data you should be passing to that parameter. So it's very well documented. So to this function module, to show a basic report, which is a normal report, not an interactive report, all I have to do is I have to export my structure name, which has those fields that I want to display in the output. So we've just created this structure, ZST12 plant. So you should pass an above dictionary structure name, which has those fields that you want to print in the output. So I'm passing the name of the structure. So this function module will use this structure to identify what fields I'm printing in the output and in which order I'm printing them, what should be the column heading, all this information it will get from the structure. And then to this tables parameter, I'll pass my internal table which has the data. So in our case it is it final. So I'll just pass these 2 parameters, basic parameters, and it's always a good practice to uncomment your exceptions. Now if I execute, it shows this list output, and as you can see, everything is formatted well, and I have lot of options here. So if I want to sort this output by plant, I can select this column and sort it by ascending or descending order. So the system will automatically do all these things. So you get a lot of functionality by just calling that function module and passing the data. So you no more have to spend time manually using those write statements to format your report output. Okay, instead of doing that manually, you simply call this function module, pass the data that you want to print in the output, and it will take care of printing that data for you. Okay, and it will also provide a lot of additional functionality, such as if you want to download this output as an Excel file, you can do that. You can send it as an email if you want. So there's a lot of functionality here. And we also have this layout button. For example, different users want to see different columns in the output. So if your report has, let's say, 20 columns, and not every user wants to see all those 20 columns. So they can customize this output by clicking on this layout button. And let's say I don't want to see the plant name, then I can select it here, hide fields, copy, and it will remove that. So we can customize this layout as per our requirement, or rather the users can customize the report output as per their preference. So this is your basic report. Now if you want to make it interactive, like how we did with the classical reports, I have to pass few parameters. So I have to pass this iCallback program, to which I have to pass the program name in which I am calling this report. So this function module will use this information to call certain subroutines in my program where you can handle this code. So you have to pass this iCallback program, and then I have to pass this user command. So to this iCallback user command, I have to pass one subroutine name. Let's say user_command, and you have to maintain this subroutine in your program. From user command inform, And if you look at the function module documentation for this particular iCallback user command parameter, they'll say that the form should be maintained with these two formal parameters. So I'll add these two formal parameters to my form. Because in this function module, if you actually look at the code of this function module, you'll see one perform statement being written, which will be dynamically calling this subroutine. So the statement would be something like perform whatever you are passing here, whatever subroutine name you are passing here, perform this in program, whatever program name you are passing to this parameter. And when this perform is called, at the perform level, they have maintained two actual parameters, user command and RSL field. So in your subroutine also you have to maintain those two formal parameters. For this user command, I'll get the for this rucom field, I'll get the function code using which I can identify what action the user is performing, and this RSL field will pass the details about the row on which the user has double clicked. So we'll see in debug mode. Here I can say if r_ucom equals to, for double click, the ALB function code is ampersand IC1. All this ALB function code starts with ampersand. So ampersand IC1 is the function code for double click. Then let's say I want to call transaction mm03. Now if I keep a breakpoint here and execute my report, if I double click on this material number, it is calling my subroutine. And if you look at this rucom, ampersand IC1 is passed because that is the function code for double click. In classical reports, the function code for double click is pick. That's why when we used our custom GUI status, I maintained pick as the function code for that double click F2. So for ALB, it is ampersand IC1. And if you look at this RSL field structure, it is a structure which has different information. If you see this RSL field value field, it has the value on which I double clicked, and this field name will tell me which column I double clicked. Okay, so like we did in ALB, if I want to pass this material number to mm03, I can write my code as something like this. Set parameter ID mat field RSL field value, then that value will be set in this parameter ID and that will be passed. So if I give 100 100 to, let's say 100 600, then if I double click on 100 120 material number, RSL field value will have that, and I'm setting that in the SAP memory. So when the transaction is called, this material number will be assigned to this field. If I double click on this plant number, it is calling the same code where RSL field will have that plant number. So I'm actually setting this plant number in the parameter in the SAP memory. So it will pass that to this mm03. So which is not the good thing, right? So we should restrict that to only if the user double clicks on the material number. So to do that, I can say if RSL field equals to matnr, then do this. Field name. So now if I double click on this plant number, RSL field name will have that works, so it won't execute this statement, so nothing happens. However, if I double click on the material number, then the field is MATNAR, so this is what we want to do, so it will call MM03. So that's why you can identify which column the user has double clicked and what is the value in that field. Okay, where you double click. So this is how you can make it interactive in terms of reacting to double click. And similar to that user command, where you can also load your own PF status and add some additional buttons to this output. So here if you see, right now I have some standard buttons. If you want to add one PDF button here and handle that in your program, you can also do that. So if you look at the documentation of this ALV again, there is a field called set PF status set, and to this again you have to pass one subroutine name, and thus that subroutine should have one formal parameter RTXTab. Okay, and if you read further, you'll also notice that it says it is recommended that copy the standard status standard from this function group SALV and make the appropriate changes. And standard ALV function code starts always begin with ampersand. So if you maintain the function code starting with ampersand, then the system will bypass calling your user command subroutine. It will try to handle within the ALV function module. But if the function code doesn't start with ampersand, then the system will understand that this is a custom function code maintained by the developer. So it will simply call your user command subroutine where you can handle it. So we'll maintain this subroutine in our program. And if you actually look at this function group SALV code, and if you search for this set PF status, so this program has that standard GUI status. So what SAP is trying to tell you is that instead of creating one custom code and losing all the standard ALV functionality, you can copy this and make necessary changes so that you have the standard as well as you can add your custom function codes to that. So if I go to SC41 menu painter and look at the function codes available for this particular function program, there are multiple function codes available, and one of them is standard full screen. So I'll copy the standard full screen. I'll say copy user interface. I'll say copy user interface, to which I'll give my program name. My program name is this. From program to this program. Sorry, I should copy the status, not the user interface. So from this program to my program, so I'll copy. I'll name my GUI status also standard full screen. Copy everything. So now this status is copied. So I'll go to change mode, and here these are all the standard ALV functions. Let's say I don't want this info. Instead of that, I'll keep my PDF icon. When I copied the previous program, it has copied the previous GUI status also, and in that we have already maintained the PDF, so it has automatically copying that here. Now I'll use this status in my program. So here first we'll pass one subroutine name, let's say PF underscore status, and we'll maintain this subroutine form pf underscore status end form, and here we'll use this set pf status. That status we copied to our program, and this subroutine should have one formal parameter. So I'll quickly check it one more time. So this is the formal parameter we should have. Basically, this RTXTab will have all the function codes of the ALV, the GUI status basically, and we can use this to dynamically hide or enable fields. So I'll show that in a while. So now it will load our PF status instead of the standard ALV PF status, and in that we have maintained that PDF button. So here in user command, whenever I click on the button, it will trigger this user command where I can check if rucom is equal to ampersand IC1, do that. Else if rucom equals to PDF, then do something else. So I'll keep a breakpoint here. Execute. So it shows RPF status. I got my PDF button, and when I click on this PDF button, it will trigger our user command, to which the rucom is passed, and here I am checking for that PDF and writing my logic, right? So this way you can handle your own GUI status. So this is similar to a user command event that we discussed when talking about classical reports. So this is how you can make your ALV report interactive to react to double click as well as add your own PDF buttons. Now let's say I want to show this PDF button only if there is some report output. If this output is empty, I don't want to show this button. So I have to dynamically handle this GUI buttons. To do that, I can say data rw xtab like line of rtxtab. rtxtab is an internal table. Then I'll say refresh rtxtab. I'm just clearing if that rtxtab has some function codes. I'm just refreshing everything. Then I'll say rw let's say if it final is initial and if rw xtab fcode, there's a field called fcode. If you actually look at this declaration here, this belongs to this list type group, and if you look at this, it has one field called fcode. So I'm passing my function code to this, append rw xtab to rtxtab. So I'll fill this rtxtab with all the function codes I don't want to display. Sorry, I'll define it as LW. And when using the set PF status, I can say excluding rtxtab. So when I use this excluding addition, then whatever function codes you have maintained in this rtxtab will be hidden from the application toolbar. So now if I say, if I have some data, it displays the PDF button. However, if I execute it with an empty, if I give an invalid material, obviously IT final will be empty, and when it is showing some empty output, that PDF button is gone, right? So you can dynamically handle your GUI status icon buttons in the application toolbar by using this excluding addition with the set PF statement. So this is applicable even for module pool programs. Even in module pool program, if you want to dynamically control what buttons to be displayed in your application toolbar, then you can use this excluding addition. So all you have to do is fill one internal table which is of type this, which has that one F code function, F code field in it, and then fill that with the function codes that you don't want to display and use the excluding addition to hide them from the application toolbar. So this is your function module ALV. Very simple and straightforward, right? So I won't be going through all the other options here because most of them are self-explanatory. If you read the documentation, you will understand. But when you're working on requirement and you have any specific requirement to handle in the report output, then you can explore this at that time, or you can contact me and I'll be able to suggest you. In fact, this ALV is very well documented. So even if you search in Google for any specific requirements about ALV, then you should get plenty of help showing you how to handle that specific scenario. Okay, but it's very straightforward. You just need to understand different parameters and what is their purpose. And once you read the documentation for this ALV function module, it will explain you all that. Okay, so that's about your ALV reports using function modules. In the next session, we'll see how to show the same ALV using the control framework. See you in the next video.